To you by Bell Lager with great coffee and most delicious cake from Ban Cafe on Grand Imperial and at Buganda Road. This morning, yeah, there she comes. That's who we've been waiting for. I mean, you know the ladies, they make you sit and you wait, and she's in this nice blue multicolored African dress. I must tell you, the morning Professor Mamdani gave his paper at conference center, you have to give it to Winnie. She walked in with a presence, green African dress with a scarf. Then, first there was silence. Then she sat down.
See, Robert, where were you anyway?
Don't you worry. Welcome, Winnie.
Thank you very much.
My daughter, one time I was picking her from school.
Yeah.
And so she asked me that, can women be presidents? I said, yes. I said, why? I said, because there is only vice president. I said, so we drove on. So she said, Daddy, I said, yeah. I want Winnie to be president.
Wow. when the voting part...
So she's got a vote.
You go in the house.
There's one vote for me.
There you are. Charles, you should relocate to Mbarara municipality and increase the numbers. And that was Charles Onyango Bo, editor of The Monitor. Now, Charles is in rubber sandals, black pair of shorts, nice blue t-shirt, and khaki baseball cap. Charles, you're welcome.
Thanks, Robert.
Frank Katusime. Let me tell you, Frank is wearing beautiful black pumps, his grey khakis, nice golf t-shirt, excellent glasses, typical Tiger Woods. Frank, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. He's on top. Now golfers seems to be excited.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're very welcome to the morning show. And this morning, a subject that's close to everyone's pocket. Something that Frank always tells us to follow the money. Now, if you've been following the money in the last 2 to 3 weeks, the shilling has been going down. It's been running so fast, we can't even keep track. I mean, those of us in the business world, the private sector, and even just the ordinary expenditure, there is a problem. I mean, by Friday, it was selling at 1,725 to $1 in every major forex bureau in town. Basically, BOU has been intervening and trying to save the situation, but nothing seems to be happening. The president has said he knows why the shilling is falling, he has medicine for it, he's going to cure it. Frank, I mean, you're the money man on this program. What's going on?
Many things. I think there are underlying factors which really go into the reasons why the shilling is depreciating against the United States dollar. Number one is that the United States dollar itself is very strong on the international markets. So since a lot of our businesses are transacted in dollars, we actually have that general international depreciation against dollar by all currencies, including the euros, the DMs, and so on. But of course, then in Uganda, there are many other factors which have made our situation worse. The first one is the fact that our coffee exports, the last coffee season, brought in not more than $150 million, which interestingly is the total amount of money that the Bank of Uganda has so far thrown in to try and stabilize the shilling. So for the whole crop of last year was $150 million for two reasons. Number one, there is a glut of Robusta coffee on the market. Of all countries, the country that has brought about this glut, you can't believe it, is Vietnam.
How is that?
Vietnam, after the Doi Moi, the Doi Moi is their equivalent of liberalization, decided to go into coffee in a big way. And you must give it to Orientals. I'm not being racist here. Of Orientals of any kind, when they do something, they do it well. In 10 years, Vietnam has moved from nowhere on the radar screen in coffee production to number one in the world in less than 10 years. It just shows you that it can be done. In 10 years, from zero to the number one Robusta coffee producer.
While we were sleeping.
Well, I don't know where we were. And they're supposed to be communists.
Yeah.
So there is a glut
Yeah.
on the world market of Robusta coffees. Number two, we were also hit by the coffee wilt disease. You know, when scientists, De Naros and what have you, the Ministry of Agriculture, where they're saying, oh, there is this virus coming, coffee wilt disease, it reminded me of, when I look back, it reminded me of 1982, 1983, when they said there is this disease in Rakai, in what. So the coffee wilt disease has wiped out a lot of the Robusta coffee in this country. And it came, you've guessed where?
Yeah.
From Congo.
Winnie.
So Congo plays into our economy in very, very, very many ways. It brought the cough wilt disease. The jury is out whether it brought AIDS, but certainly it also, our intervention in Congo, and particularly our spat with Rwanda, gave really a lot of shakes. I mean, the whole investment community, the whole private sector's confidence was given a jolt by not so much our intervention in Congo, but the fact that we were probably not capable of managing our affairs. You see, they were saying, if you go in a nightclub with your brother, and you've come, and you are busy enjoying and what have you, and after 1 hour,
Frank,
people see you.
Congo is a nightclub.
You know, and no, I'm giving you an analogy. And people see you, you know, having a punch up with your brother. People must have second thoughts about the ability to manage your affairs. So the fact that we went there and started fighting Rwanda was a terrible indictment of our ability to manage our affairs, our relations, because that also shows how well you are at managing. So the investors were given a big, big jolt. And of course, then there is the fact of the fish ban.
Yeah.
And so, as if that was not enough, there are these are, in my view, are the immediate causes. But there are other underlying causes which are causing this problem, like the cost of doing business here. But really, by the way, that is being addressed.
Yeah. Let me just switch to you, Winnie. I mean, you're the voice of the people on this issue. Shilling has been sliding. The cost of doing business has been going up. People's livelihoods have been affected because the money doesn't amount to much. I mean, where is the political leadership on this? We hear you're calling for intervention to restrict the shilling. I don't know what. What's going on?
Well, Frank has put down some of the reasons why the shilling is falling like that. But I think he has left out some very important reasons that I think we could be doing something about to restore the shilling. And I think one of them is the investor confidence in the country. You see, Frank talked a bit about it, about how we behaved outside Uganda, in Congo. True. The fact that we have embroiled ourselves in conflicts in the region hasn't made people who want to invest here feel good about this place. And then you see, internally as well, the investor hasn't got strong reason to feel confident and to feel that this is going to be a country that will be stable in the future.
How and why is that?
Because you see, there is a debate that has been ongoing about the future of the country. We went into a referendum and we said we had won it. We won it for the movement, 90% or whatever it was, but the debate didn't go away. The opposition remained there, and the opposition did not concede defeat because they said they had not participated, and their demands continue. And you see, this, I think, for a business person, is not good, because it's not a healthy debate about winning the minds of the people. It is a debate about exclusion of some. You see, and it can have many ways of manifestation if it is not resolved on the table in a peaceful and in a political way. So I think that investors want to see the region clearing up, cleaning it. They want to see Uganda and the neighborhood becoming less conflict prone, moving towards stability. They also want to see within the country a resolution of this issue, so that those who are in opposition know that we are there temporarily because we don't have the majority on our side. But if we mobilize and have the majority on our side, we could be in government. But not to feel that the key has been locked in their faces and thrown away into Lake Victoria. So these issues, so if we can make progress on the issue of peace, and let the person who wants to put money here, who's got money here, feel that, yes, this is going to become a really, really safe place for my dollars. And if we can also move on the question of democracy, I think that will restore investor confidence.
Yeah.
And there's also the donor confidence. I mean, I've heard people making noise that donors don't interfere in our politics and so on and so on. It's a bit childish to talk like that when you know that more than half of your budget is met by money from those people we call donors.
Yeah.
It's a bit ridiculous to say that don't be concerned about how we are managing ourselves. Of course they mind, because they also want to put their money where it will make a profit, where it will have a positive outcome.
Yeah.
So again, the donors have not been happy about our lack of progress in those areas, on the issue of peace, on the issue of democracy, and on the issue of corruption.
Yeah.
On all those three fronts, I think they have used quiet diplomacy. They have talked quietly to the movement government, but they have not been satisfied that we are making the right steps. And I think there's been some holding back of the disbursement of some of the donor money, particularly the HIPIC funds.
Yeah. Let me turn to you, Charles. I mean, between me and you, we share a common interest in this. I mean, this affects our business of newspapers in a very, very fundamental way. I mean, the cost of newsprint and all other materials goes up. But I mean, you have written about this so many times. In fact, I think last week you touched on it, on what the hell is going on.
Well, I think Frank and Winnie are correct, but and this is where, you see, these problems happen to all countries, but I think then people look for how you are resolving them. And you see, this is why the referendum results, for example, even the question of the winning is not important. Investors never look at whether you have won or not. They read the lines between the numbers. Yeah. And at the end of the day, the numbers they saw there, if they say, if it is like this today, and I have $1 million, how is it going to be like in 5 years' time? The government might continue to be in power, but, he said that it will just not be a strong government. Because you read between the lines. You say, you look at those numbers, you say, look, it doesn't look good. So you say, fine, that happens, then you look for signs of how this government is likely to behave. Now, there have been really two big opportunities in the last 3 weeks. There was the Constitutional Court petition, and that was a great opportunity to restore confidence. But it was bungled. The first thing was to rush to amend a constitution because you've lost a court case. And then, Frank said it here, and then you attack the judiciary. And, I tell you these things, some of us now have, foreign partners in business. We actually basically make decisions on the basis of a 5-year plan. And they ask you these very, 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 very difficult questions. And, you begin to say, Uganda, a lot of people don't think just 3-6 months down the road. Then people then started looking for how will the government respond to this. Now, in the last week again, we've got some signals. President Museveni goes to, Mozambique, where there had been a big international conference 2 weeks before. They brought all these young, smart university kids from Southern Africa and all this. And the argument was, look, Africa must join the technology bandwagon. How do we get on the global village? Now, our president goes there 2 weeks later, and he says we must resist globalization. We must resist. So, obviously, he's moving away. He's moving away. So, so when he comes, and I think when he was opening, this center, this health center, earlier this week, he says we are going to do something for the shilling. But right next to it, New Vision runs a story from Sendaula. So, and you see, given Museveni's speech, you could read that he's thinking of controlling, intervening and managing the exchange rate.
No, I didn't think like that.
Yeah, that's the thing, because he's
Once
not.
you say you have found a solution, you see, there is nothing like that.
And following a speech where you are against, you are talking of resisting, So, people, but Sendaula then says, no. Actually, Sendaula then signals that let this shilling fall. It's good for exports, because it's looking at taxes, it's looking at an export, which Frank says, now you see, this KO money is bigger than all our total exports.
Yeah.
That is bad. So Sendaula signals that it is good for the shilling to drop further. So you obviously have a president who is not thinking at par with his ministers. And look,
No, I think you have thought for him.
no,
No.
Winnie, let me tell you, this is how people make business decisions. Now, and I just do this, I read the papers.
I think you have misread
A lot,
him this time.
a lot of business people make this decision.
No, Winnie.
Then you realize that the government doesn't actually have a plan.
Winnie, all economic players all over the world, be the Ugandans, be the Americans, when Greenspan just opens his mouth, they just look at the way he said it. When anything he said,
Even as
they
he prepares
will
to
read
say it.
into it. So, and usually, the smart ones are those who have read him correct. The stupid ones are those who have read him wrong. Therefore, when a president speaks, be sure.
And the Minister of Finance.
There are even the
I'm
finance
just saying that you read him wrong.
well, no. You see, I hope so. I hope we've read him wrong,
Just
because you see, when he says that
think-
I have found the problem,
Yes.
Right?
The
Yes.
solution.
and therefore I know the solution.
Yes.
My own analysis is that it's not as simple as he thinks it is, because it will take time, for example, for us to restore investor confidence. It will take time to wipe out the cough wheel disease. It will take time to
convince
bring
people to buy our
peace
fish.
into the Great Lakes. It will take a lot of time and a lot of hard work to make sure that our fish can not only get into the European common market, but also actually be bought. It will take time to sort out all this mess with the flower industry. So
I think that Museveni is a communicator, great communicator, and he said that. I think that because he's not aware of all this. I'm sure he is much better than you are, Frank. But I think that he said it because he felt a pressure to comment on the shilling. But at the same time, he didn't want to go into a discussion of what his strategy is going to be. But from how I read him now, how he's behaving of late, I sense that he's trying to tackle the political issues that underpin part of this crisis. For example, he has now said that he wants Uganda to join SADC. Now, I raised this to him more than 2 years ago, and he was set against it. Now, 2 years down the road, 2.5 years down the road, he's willing to join SADC. I think these are the directions he's taking that I think are intended to change our strategy within the region, to move us away from a warlike path towards a peaceful path, to make us part of a stable region that looks better economically than where we are right now. I think he's taking the steps, but he can't go, he can't be at a function like that and start expounding what his strategy is going to be to strengthen the shilling.
But when he had been in the papers like 2 days before.
And to say that he is going to fight globalization. You see?
I think even there, I think that let's be fair. First of all, it's reported in the Ugandan press. I mean, I don't want to belittle them.
It was
but
AFP.
International all the international
TV.
press carried it.
Okay. Let's say he says, let's fight globalization. I think he's talking about the terms of globalization. And he's quite right in a forum like that of the Southern African leaders to talk about the terms. Because let's face it, there's the issues of global governance for our countries, such as the terms of trade within the World Trade Organization, have to be addressed. And Museveni is giving right leadership when he says that we cannot take globalization at its face value. It's not automatically win-win for everybody. We have to talk about the rules of global economic governance. He's dead right.
91.3 Capital FM. This is the Capital Gang, brought to you by Bell Lager with great coffee from Ban Cafe. Now, we're going into the break, but I would like to play a special track for my friends at Ouagadougou. They reopened. It's been spruced up, but there's an art exhibition by Etiang, the Honorable Etiang's son. The guys go there and have a look at it. It's a track by Uganda's greatest musician, Geoffrey Oriema. When we come back, we'll let you call in.
Brought to you by Uganda's finest premium beer, Bell Lager.
You can tell who's drinking Bell, Bell Lager. When things are going well, when it comes to friends and fun, Bell Lager, then Bell.
Bell Lager, for a great night and a good morning.
Omwana wanje nabonabona ahabwokuba akarwara polio endwara erukuhinya amagufa g'abantu tarukubasa kugenda n'obukwaku kuzaana na bagenzi be nkakora enshovi tinda mutwire kumusereka kandi polio teyine mubazi
nyabura we utagaruka gukora enshovi nk'egi twara umwana wawe bamusirike polio ibiro 26 ninga ibiro 27 kwa munana hamwe n'ibiro 30 kwa mwenda ninga kibanzo ku 10 umwaka ogwo abana bona bari hansi y'emyaka 5 ekitongore cye by'amagara nikija kubasirika polio abana nibisha kweyongera amane go kwerinda polio abazaire mutwara abana banyu ahamyanye barahiji babasirike polio mu kwezi kwa munana no ku 10 yaba babire basirikirwe ninga batarasirikirwe ikintu kija kubongera amane go kwerinda polio naba bo mutaratwire umukusiriko kwenyima mbatware
twatanise nitubinga polio mu Uganda ehererweyo.
In the clearing and forwarding business, there's nothing more important than cherishing people's property.
BTS Clearing and Forwarding is the company that you can rely on.
Efficient and quality service is what we provide.
With branches in strategic locations,
Kampala, Entebbe, Malaba, and Busia.
Making BTS the choice to go for, not only because of its excellent and superior service, but also for its reasonable rates.
Find us at UCA Building, Mezzanine Floor, Plot 47/49, Nkrumah Road.
Telephone 254-191.
BTS Clearing and Forwarding. Service with maximum concern.
Here's a great test to try on a white shirt. Pour a bottle of tomato sauce over it. Then a pot of tea. smear it with lipstick, then drop it in a puddle of red mud and jump on it. Nothing on earth can save this shirt. Nothing, that is, except Jik. 10 minutes soaking in Jik and warm water, and voila! A clean white shirt. What Jik does to stains, Jik does to household germs.
You can tell who drinks Bell. And you know this is the Capital Gang, brought to you by Uganda's finest premium beer, Bell Lager.
Yeah, that's right. This is the Capital Gang, brought to you by Uganda's finest premium beer, Bell Lager, with great coffee from Ban Cafe, with the Honorable Winnie Byanyima, MP from Barra Municipality, Franca Tusime, social critic and computer expert, Charles Onyangobo, editor of The Monitor, and I am Robert Kabushenga. Frank, let me turn to you on this. I mean, how are we going to fix it? Do we intervene and shore up the shilling, or do we let it fall and fall and fall to disaster?
No, I think the best way is to give an analogy of, I mean, suppose you wake up one morning and you have your child, your son or daughter, and he's running a very high temperature. I mean, the temperature is in the high, 38, 39, 40. What do? The first thing you do, of course, is try and reduce the temperature to a level which is manageable. Because you see, any doctor will tell you that if your child is running very high temperature, put a damp cloth on the forehead, just to reduce the temperature. Because if you don't bring down the temperature, the child might convulse, right? Because of the high temperature getting into the brain. But you will not, because you've seen your child running a temperature, you are not going to pour cold water on the child. Neither are you going to put the child in a fridge to bring down the temperature. No. What you do is you actually bring down the temperature while you are taking the child to hospital, so that the doctor can do a proper diagnosis and find the fundamental cause of the temperature.
Let's get back to the shilling.
Which will either be some malaria or some typhoid and something. So if we go back to the shilling, if you are Bank of Uganda and you see that the shilling is dropping down like a yo-yo, you may actually just stabilize. You are not going to bring in controls, as it were, put your child in the fridge to close it off. No, you can dampen it, intervene so that the slide
is controlled.
So that you give it like a parachute. But you look at the fundamentals. And in this case, it takes time to sort out the fundamentals, just as it will take a lot of time and pain to get over malaria or typhoid. So the fundamentals in this case are what we've talked about: regaining donor confidence, regaining investor confidence, bringing peace so that the investment climate in the region is better, sorting out our export area, cutting down our transaction costs, cutting down the cost of doing business here, and this takes a long time. These are the basic fundamentals.
You remember a time when he was traveling with powerful business delegations to interest people, investors from other countries in our economy. That was almost like 3 years ago, but it was beginning to pay. He was attending the major trade exhibitions in Europe. He was going on state visits that were focused on economic issues. But when this Congo thing happened, all that stopped. And meeting after meeting, his trips have all been about conflict resolution, basically. Traveling between Arusha, Lusaka, Libya, Weya, all in pursuit of peace, but not
the economy.
On the economy. And even if he took a trip and went to, say, Malaysia to interest people there, the journalists would come round him, and instead of asking him about the business climate in Uganda, they would still ask questions about Congo. That is the way the media is. They would. So the fact that we were embroiled and a major player in this conflict in Congo has taken his attention away from the economy. He's human. He can't. He couldn't be otherwise.
Right.
So now I think that these are the results of the conflict. You remember when it started, people were saying that, oh, it's not costing us anything. We are not spending any more from our budget. We have managed to keep inflation low. And I kept saying that, no, it can't be. You can't run a war with no cost on the air. There has to be a cost. And this is now the cost we are beginning to see.
Right. We have a caller on the line, and you can call us on 348-406 or MTN 078-222-913. But let's take a call. Please give us your name and your comment.
Hello?
Go right ahead. We can hear you.
Yes, my name is Justus Bijirwa. I am a small-time businessman who thinks that investor confidence is waning and is largely responsible for the free fall of the shilling. The coffee and fish dollars notwithstanding, the Uganda Investment Authority, I hope, can no longer boast of the mega investments responsible for large inflows of dollars. We seem to have lost a sense of direction in as far as guiding our economy is concerned. Take the example of the banking industry. Apart from closing non-performing banks, the interest rates are weird, the cost of capital is skyrocketing, the interests have gone up by 10 to 15% in 2 years. The business enabling laws seem to be so fragile. Our legislature debates allowances and tax rebates. It does not debate the serious issues, the serious laws regarding the economy. We have no enabling laws on taxation, environment, export policy, investment policy. Take the example, the income tax bill was only debated by 57 MPs. We seem to put more of our attention in debating issues that concern the referendum other than giving the business, which is the thing we survive on. Thank you.
No, I want to agree with this man, but also to defend the parliament. We debate proposals from the executive. We don't, as parliament, initiate the proposals. You read our mandate carefully in the constitution. We debate the proposals of the executive.
No,
Winnie. And we have not failed to debate the priorities of government in that house.
No, Winnie, let me come in here. I think the caller is bang on right. You see, if right now, if you look at the three arms of government, the judiciary is under attack from government. Everybody has said, okay, even if the executive is wobbling, there is some hope in parliament. It can actually bring some restraint on government. But the signals we are getting from parliament are at best confused, but more realistically, they are actually giving wrong signals. Here you have parliament, which instead of trying to pass the budget as a matter of priority, they are blackmailing government that unless the government gives them a free car loans, they are not going to debate the budget.
No,
these are parliamentarians.
Right.
Winnie, these are parliamentarians who signed contracts, individual contracts. If members, honorable members of parliament cannot, if honorable members of parliament cannot live within their own contracts, how will they ensure that the government lives within its own contracts and obligations?
No, Frank, can I correct
this
you?
This is sending wrong signals.
No. I mean, be factual in what you are saying. Yeah. We are not only debating the budget, we have decided to debate that budget Mondays, which is not our usual day for debate, Fridays inclusive, and we debate both mornings and afternoons. We are working round the clock to pass that budget before the end of this month. And we are doing this because we want to help the government to get on with its business. But this is not our usual calendar. So the question of blackmail does not arise. If it were so, we would be debating it at our normal speed. But no, we have accelerated it. We are working round the clock. We have put aside constituency work in order to pass the budget. So the issue of blackmail is not right, Frank. Now, the question of this, of the renegotiation of the terms of the cars, I have not been in any meeting of Parliament where Parliament has made it a condition to passing of the budget.
Unless
This
Charles
was,
and Kabushenga telling us that.
they are not telling the truth.
No. And
We have
let
not
me
at all
come in here.
conditioned it.
Actually, there has been a meeting chaired by the Prime Minister to resolve this issue because members have threatened
Yes.
to stall.
Now we shouldn't be like
No,
the
not at
MPs
all.
also.
Not
You see,
at
because
all.
I mean, the business.
The matter has
business-
been
yeah,
brought
the
to
business
Prime
people
Minister,
out
but,
there.
but
We've got another call on the line. Let's take his call, and if you want to call us, tell us how the shilling is hurting you. The number is 348-406 or MTN 078 222-913.
Hi, Robert. Hello.
Yeah.
Hear you.
Hello. My name is John Bijemano. Honorable Winnie, I think you should really be objective. I'd like to see where Parliament goes wrong, either as a body or the individuals within that body. I'd really like you to see, I'd like to see you come out as strongly as you come out when things go wrong elsewhere. I think the caller was quite right to say Parliament is not showing seriousness. 57 members out of 270 debating an important bill. Give us a break, Winnie. We know that it's now campaign time and members of Parliament need to travel up country, campaign, they sit in committees, they do a lot of things. But really, I think we need prioritization here. And for 57 members to be debating an important bill like the income tax bill, I think is a little bit shameful on the part of Parliament. Thank you.
John, you need to be... John, it was John Bijemano, wasn't it?
Yes.
John, it's true. I should be objective, and I'm going to try to be.
Yeah.
But when you say things like the income tax bill was debated by 57 people, to me, either it shows that you don't understand the parliamentary process, or you have been misled. That bill, first of all, was not debated in one afternoon. And even if it was debated in one afternoon, you can't say there were just 57 members in the chamber right through. The bill was debated over a couple of days, I recall. It can be that on one particular sitting, you might count and find just 57 members sitting there in that particular hour. It does not mean at all that throughout that debate, those are the only people who have been participating. I remember participating in that debate myself. Although I'm not an economist, I tried to make sense of the income tax law. I remember making a contribution on behalf of about the threshold because of small business people in my constituency. People come in at different times and bring in different perspectives during the debate of a bill. But to count 57 at one moment and say these are the people who debated it is not fair. It's not fair at all.
Let's come back a minute.
At any one time, members come in and out, and I want people to know.
Parliamentarians and the issues of quorum, Winnie, we shall not go into that.
No, but you see,
I want to stick to the issue of the money here, Winnie. And
so to say that we don't debate, you would have to show me a proposal from the government on the economy, which has come before Parliament, and which is still lying in Parliament undebated because we are taking time off doing other things. As a matter of fact, our own proposals, we have a budget bill. Hold on.
Winnie,
we have a budget bill.
We have to take control of the debate here, Winnie. I mean, nobody's questioning Parliament. I mean, the issue is the focus.
Our budget bill is intended to put some control in our hands over matters of the economy. We have put it aside in order to deal with what government is proposing, although it's so important to us. Now, when we are doing what government wants, then you say we are not working. What do you want us to do?
Well, we have another call on the line. Please give us your name and your comment.
So I'm called to Mr. Jasper. Well, I wish to go on record saying that maybe we don't have a parliament. Why? It is unfortunate for honorable members to say get a loan, a car loan, and then remember that it is a bad contract after around 2 years. Winnie, you all know that you signed and negotiated the deals, and we believe that we, the citizens, believe that you are all literate. So if you can do that after 2 years, it is unfortunate. Thank you.
Charles, I mean, I want to stick to the specifics here. I mean, the question was, how are we going to go about it? I mean, is anybody addressing this issue? How are we going to resolve the Congo problem? Do we even have the courage to do this?
Yeah, but you know, Robert, I don't take the view that I mean, even internally, I think it was the Honorable Daudi Migerako who said, I think since the beginning of the year, 150 businesses or something have collapsed. So there are a series of internal things that we need to address. The taxation system, name it, all these things. So and these are the things. These are the things that bother people. And look, we've got I think an analysis which is coming out on Monday or Tuesday. This is Sendaula goes to the House and says, our defense expenditure was okay. Now the budget had provided that should be 220 billion, but he doesn't mention that figure. He says, and this guy makes a brilliant analysis. He says it was 2% of GDP. And this passes the whole House. No MP actually sits down and works out that 2% of GDP is actually 450 billion shillings. Now, you see, so you're right, when it's not just these other things, that just internally the numbers. So the excessive government expenditure is almost equivalent to the legitimate internal domestic arrears of businesses who are unpaid. So they basically got the 260 billion that they should have paid local businessmen and threw it into the war. And you have 150 businesses going out of. And, those are the things. You ask me the solution, I'm telling you, let's get rid of the shilling and move to the dollar. Because these governments, you can't trust them to take the right decision. If we had the dollar as the national currency, we could go to Congo and fight and do these things. The currency would be insulated against these irrationalities and these volatile behaviors of our politicians.
Well, we have another call on the line. Please give us your name and make your comment.
Hello, this is William. Now, with me, I'm just going to look at one issue, a solution towards this problem.
Please move a little away from your radio.
Okay, now, Frank has mentioned, and many people have been mentioning, that one of the reasons is for this problem of the shilling is that the inflows, that is foreign investment and the like, is going down. Now, in the short term, we are not going to sort out that problem because the global trend is that investment towards Africa is going down. People prefer the Far East and so on. What we must do as a country, we must address the issue of charity beginning at home. What have we done? The investors must come in as a supplement. Now, in this country, there's a problem. The money that we would have been saving to invest in small-scale businesses and all this is just being eaten by the bureaucrats. Look at Kazi, we're going to Karamoja and spending 300 million in 2 days. What is that? We are just abusing the little that we have. We must invest, then the foreigners will come in to supplement. We should not just sit down and wish that they will come and set up this industry and that, and they are not coming, maybe it's racism or what. It's because we are not serious. Our partners will only deal with us if we are serious.
Right.
In fact,
This man makes sense.
It's amazing the resilience of Ugandans, the local Ugandans, the confidence they have in Uganda even beats me, because you see all these inflows from the Cheyo people, from the Ugandan professionals in Japan, in Dubai, in South Africa, those are Ugandans saving. And just that small group of Ugandans are saving $200 million per annum and sending it back to Uganda. So there is a lot of saving. The problem is these savings are being blown by our managers, by the bureaucrats, in doing, what shall we say, rather stupid things like the gentleman has referred to.
91.3 Capital FM. Let's take a break.
The Capital Gang, brought to you by Bell Lager, Uganda's finest premium. This is the Capital Gang, brought to you by Uganda's finest premium beer, Bell Lager.
91.3 Cabo FM. This is the Capital Gang with Charles Onyangobo, Franca Tusime, and Honorable Winnie Byanyima. Now, Charles, I mean, you've been tracking this thing down. It just appears to me like of all the government arms that are doing anything about it, looks like it's only the Bank of Uganda functioning.
And unfortunately, and you see, the thing is that one of the most interesting, Citibank puts out, if you have some links with them in one way or the other, they put out an analysis of this thing every day, and it is basically incredible to read. The people who are reading, who are doing that thing, are saving themselves money. But one of the things that the argument was that this thing wouldn't go beyond 1700. They said that the thing would collapse. It's gone and nothing has happened. Now, quite what is happening is that people have read that the ability of the central bank to intervene is limited and it no longer makes a difference.
Yeah.
And that's what should worry us. And I think what Louis Kaseken and his people should do is just stop throwing money into this thing. And why has the central bank stopped doing this thing? Because, let's face it, and I'll say this very, very mildly, our reserves have essentially been raided. For what and to what extent. A couple of years ago, we're up to something like 789 million. You don't want to know the figures today. But, so those are the kind of things which everyone else is really very alarmed at it. And they're basically, stepping back. Now, the very interesting thing, and, Frank says this, when I wrote about this thing, and I was very cautious because I was saying, I know it will hurt, but I said that, I made my arguments and I said this thing should go up to 2,000. And you can't believe business people were saying, that is smart. We don't want foreign exchange control. Let this thing find its level. Some of them were even sending me presents. Because I think the business people there have figured out that, look, let's just keep the government out of this. And I think they are really ready for this thing to hit 2,000 and beyond, because the market doesn't tell you a lie. If it is 1730, it's because there are reasons for it. If it is 2,000, there are reasons for it. It doesn't tell you a lie. And that's what actually pleased me, that our business people have finally begun to take confidence.
They have always been
in the market and the message it gives you.
They have always been in the market. All the time, our business people have played the market. When there were exchange controls, the business people were not getting their money on the official one. They were getting their money from Chivanda, which was the market.
Yeah.
Any attempt to try and back the market, to try and cheat the market, is always a conspiracy of the bureaucrats and the politicians to get their own thing. Whether they are trying to get an interest-free loan or they are trying to get their own exchange, all those attempts to back the market always end up in failure. You ask, attempts by bureaucrats to cheat the market always benefit the politicians and a few businessmen who
are linked.
George Soros made $20 billion out of the Thatcher government because he figured out that these people are trying to cheat the market, and if I do it smartly, I'll make money off them. Now, there are always people there who make money out of stupid governments. Always.
Right. We've got another caller on the line. Please give us your name and your comment.
Hello, my name's Kenneth, and I want to express my very big disgust for the current government. I'm very, very disappointed.
Please move away from your radio. Please move a little away from your radio.
Widespread nepotism, corruption, a very lousy parliament, unnecessary wars. People are getting poorer. It seems we're not taking serious action in terms of the government policy. There are no jobs, a very poor allocation of resources. You go to hospitals, you find no medicine. The nurses are poorly paid. One nurse for 200 patients. Imagine. Yeah? Now, another thing, all these actions lead to a retardation of development. Instead of prosecuting thieves, we prosecute people who will speak frankly against the system. That's not being serious. The country has become so individualized. One person calls the shots instead of institutions or a full system. There's a very big income gap. Let me tell you one story. There's a time around 2 years ago, I had a friend who worked for an NGO. They would go deep down in the villages and they were assessing incomes of people. Now, there is a man with a family of 20 people they assessed his income for the whole year, and trust me, it wasn't going beyond 10,000 shillings for a year. The guy was living on purely subsistence means. On one level, you find such a person, and on another level, you find one man who has assets worth, I don't know how much money, 800 million plus. Now, imagine an economy like that. What are we doing to address such issues?
Right, that's a Ugandan for you.
Yeah, Kenneth wanted to get it off his chest. You're quite right in many of the things you're saying. And now let me speak with humility that having served in Parliament for almost 5 years and having come in with a lot of expectation to do so many things to change the lives of people, I now realize that it's not so easy. We haven't done very much. I agree with you. But I don't think that all is going to be bleak. I think that some mistakes that were made it's now, I think the government has to be convinced now that it was a mistake to just get up without consulting the representatives of the people or anybody and rush into Congo. I think the mistakes that have been made in Congo are now obvious even to the government. And I think we should start seeing disengagement. And on corruption, I unfortunately, like Kenneth, I remain disappointed because when I hear, every time I've heard the president talk about our attempts to fight corruption, he's always slugging us and dismissing our initiatives in Parliament. Yet I think, the 5 years, we tried to take some action to give leadership, but I'm afraid I don't see much progress in that area. Now, what this man, Kenneth, needs to understand is that for any government to perform well, it must be under threat of being dislodged. Otherwise, the governments are not angels. They cannot have an incentive to do good. The only incentive can be that if we don't do good, we'll lose office.
Yeah.
So, Kenneth, an election is coming. I think we need to get Ugandans to wake up and tell us that, you didn't do well enough. We are going to choose other people. But maybe, above all, it is to insist on the democratization process to reach its fullest stage. Because as long as we are in this, our movement system, a government can never fall.
Let me.
There is no provision under the movement for a government to pay the highest price and be removed from office. That is something we could not provide for under the movement system, and that cushions a government to the point of being insensitive sometimes to the people's cries.
Right. But let me now, one time talking to Stephen Banya, the one who gives us coffee here every Saturday morning, he pointed out to me that, this whole globalization thing, and said, I do not see that Uganda is positioning itself with any product, not even bananas, on which we even have a name in World WTO, not coffee, not anything. The only fact right now, our hottest commodity is unskilled labor that we're exporting. I said, what are we doing? Is there any long-term strategy that anybody knows of that will prepare this country to have a product that it can sell?
Yeah, actually, one of the if God willing, one of the most profound investment we have made as a country for entering into the new global trade is, you want to believe it, UPE. Forget the rest.
Charles, do you see anything?
No, I don't see anything. You take some very, very basic thing. And I mean, people like Minister Wendera have spoken about this. Some statement about just making education, you know, or computer classes, some very, very rudimentary thing like that, so that people begin to work in a very different mode. And you know, just let us compare with an example that was on the news this week. The Prime Minister of Japan goes to India. And Indian, of course, are already making, you know, because you see the way, as you said last week, they are making $50,000+ a month. Their engineers working off, you know,
in Bangalore or Hyderabad.
In Bangalore, and you know, just transmitting their stuff through the internet with their contractors in Europe. Now, this guy, the Indian government has decided that the growth market for the future IT is in Japan. Japan doesn't have enough. So it's getting 7,500 of its smart IT people. And every year they'll be putting these people in the system, and the guys are learning Japanese, to speak the Japanese language, to work in Japanese, to write software in Japanese or something. Now, that is a very, very simple decision, you know. I mean, if you think just on the face of it, but they have realized the opportunity that now even Japan has run out of options for them to remain competitive. They need to be producing these products, you know, for the information technology medium at cheaper prices and more quickly. India can provide it, but our people don't speak Japanese, so we are going to give them those skills. And you know,
I'll tell you why they're doing that. You see, at this institute.